I'm representing. Hi guys, welcome back to AFTV. I'm here with Robbie. How you doing, Robbie?
Good, mate. Good, good.
And we're here to discuss the inevitable decision that is, Mesut Ozil is going to be left out. We've been hearing, and others have been reporting as well, that Ozil's going to be left out of the Premier League squad along with Socrates, and that probably spells the end of Mesut Ozil in an Arsenal shirt.
It's the end. It's the end.
Yeah. It is, yeah. That's the reality of it. That's I couldn't even come to say it.
It's the end.
Maybe.
No, it's the end. It's the end. It really is the end. He's been left out of the Europa League squad, and now left out of the league squad. I mean, basically, that's it. He's done. Yeah. His contract, as we know, is going to run out at the end of the season. Possibly, this could point to maybe him leaving in January.
Yeah,
because in January he's free to talk to various clubs in Europe if he wants to organise a move. But yeah, it is a very sad day.
I feel sad.
I always go back to the day when we signed him, and I remember doing, that was quite early into AFTV, and there'd been a lot of frustration around for quite a few years in the lack of signings at Arsenal. And I remember when we signed him, it was unbelievable. I was right down by the ground. The sign, it'd been putting up all day. It's a bit like the one we had the other day, party. But then they announced it in the evening. It was a hot day. And I remember kids flooded out onto the streets around the stadium, in front of the stadium where the roundabout is and that. And there were so many people on the street that traffic couldn't get through.
Yeah.
And they were celebrating, and I remember interviewing this kid who goes, "This is it now, we're going to challenge," and stuff like that, and we've made a world-class signing. And to see now that it's ended like this, after all these years, it ends like with him being left. I mean, it's humiliation, isn't it, for him? Left out of the Europa League squad, left out of the Premier League squad. It's humiliating for a player of his class and his quality. And yeah, it's really sad, but it's the reality. He's gone.
I feel really sad about it because, like you, I remember that day so clearly. I was away, but I was journeying back, and I had my headphones on. I was on the radio. All my friends trying to socialise with me. I said, "Don't talk to me today." And I was texting friends: "Is it happening? Is it not? What's going on?" I made it home just in time for the sort of big announcement of Sky Sports, and I think we even see it on our timeline now. It comes up on Twitter, or whatever. We'll see Arsenal signed Mesut Ozil, that sort of very iconic. Vintage Sky. So it was very iconic, wasn't it? It was a really big deal, and the pictures of Wenger and Ozil, and it was a really special day. And I do feel sad. That's not to say I necessarily think he should be in the team right now, but it's very sad how it's ended. Yeah,
it's very, very sad how it's ended. I want to know what you guys are thinking about it at the moment, but it's true. Mesut Ozil, we're no longer going to see his skills and creativity at the club. You look at it, James, and you think at the moment, we look at the game, for instance, at the weekend where there was a distinct lack of creativity.
Yeah.
Couldn't they have found a way to get Ozil into the team?
Sometimes in football, what famous manager was it who said 1 + 1 sometimes equals 3, and so you sometimes think lack of creativity, play Ozil, and it doesn't always translate that way. In fairness, when Ozil was coming back into the sides, I'm not sure we always necessarily looked a hell of a lot better going forward. But I know what you mean. I mean, the longer we keep going through games and we keep sitting 16th in the chances created table, the question about Ozil is going to keep coming up.
Do you know what? You make a great point there, because that now puts more pressure on Mikel Arteta, because, as you said, anytime there's a 0-0 or there's a lack of creativity in a game, everyone's going to point to that. Where's Ozil? Why didn't we play Ozil? I mean, Ozil has loads of people still love him, and still support him. And I could see a comment here from James Simpson. He said, "Such a sad day. We can't leave him. We can't let him leave when we need creativity." So that's one that you see right there. I mean, how are you guys feeling on it? As I said, let us know.
Ozil's a funny one because, as you just said, he's got a massive following. He's one of those few footballers who is you know, in his prime was super marketable, probably still is, you know, and has been for a long time, and also he's one of those players who has a loyal fan base in that a lot of fans support Ozil, not necessarily a club. I'm not for 1 second dissing any of those fans or saying that's the wrong way to go about it, but Ronaldo is one of those players who's got that sort of, you know, fan base and aura around him as well, and Ozil fans will be really upset because this is a guy who I think the saddest thing about him is that it's not like he's leaving as well with people having a unified opinion of him as being one of the greatest, you know, number 10 playmakers of all time. I think there's still a lot of people out there who say didn't do it in the Premier League, and I disagree with that opinion, but he's definitely a divisive character.
You can see here a comment here from It's Jaden. Where you get a picture from? He said It's Jaden. He says let's go. Finally, the most overhyped player in the world, in world football, is out for good. So he's happy.
There you go.
He's happy that Ozil is gone. But as I said, James Simpson saying such a bad day, such a sad day. You know, I mean, we need this creativity. Josh here is saying, imagine Ozil lived up to the hype instead of warming up the reserves. And Kartik says Arsenal ruined him. You know, I was talking to this journalist this morning. He was saying, you know, if only Arsenal, say, would have got Partey a couple of years ago, and you know, be able to play, say, Partey and Xhaka behind Mesut Ozil, we might have seen the best of him. But
there's definitely an argument for that. I thought he actually played his best football when he had Cazorla behind him. So actually, in the same way De Bruyne and David Silva looked like they were just on a different wavelength, I thought Cazorla and Ozil had a similar thing. So I tell you,
that was when he was at his best, when Cazorla was playing.
Absolutely. In fact, if I could have chosen one position to absolutely upgrade in during Ozil's time, it would have been up front rather than necessarily in midfield. But I totally take that point.
Yeah. Randy Viper says Martinez has taken his winning aura and calmness to Villa, so happy for him. But then he goes on to say Arsenal made the wrong choice. Leno made a mistake again. He's going in on the goalkeepers, but he then goes on to say bye-bye Ozil. I don't know if that's a bye-bye in a nice way or a bye-bye as if to say bye-bye. I don't know. Peter says, Robbie, the way he walked off the pitch in the Europa League final last year was too much for 90% of the Arsenal fan base. Remember that. That's a great point, Peter. Remember how he walked off. You know, you didn't look on that player and say, that's a player that will really give everything for this club.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You know what I'd like to know? Whose decision? Is this Arteta's decision? Or is this come from the very, very highest level? Because there's been a lot of controversies. You know, he was playing. I mean, he played in March, just before the whole COVID thing really kicked in. And Arteta looked like, you know, Arteta knows him from when he played here before. And it looked like he'd get game time. It looked like he'd play. But then you had the whole thing about him not taking a pay cut.
Yeah.
And that didn't go down well with the hierarchy, you can tell.
Yeah.
Then there was the thing with China, where he spoke out about the plight of the Uyghur Muslims there. Again, that went down very badly with the board because they lost a lot of, you know, business in China. Then there's been the whole Gunnosaurus thing the other day. Again, that would have went down very badly, where he said he'd give money towards Gunnosaurus. I think this decision has come from higher. This is just my opinion on this. But I think this decision has come from higher than Mikel Arteta.
I think it's impossible to disagree with you because it was so abrupt. It's not like he was phased out, came off the bench, made a few matchday squads. He was out. And I think he made one bench, maybe at Southampton, and he just was not involved whatsoever at the same time as Guendouzi. So something more's happened there for sure.
Michael says, afternoon, Robbie and James. I thought Ozil might have been given a chance because of the Awar deal not going through. Well, there's even that, but, you know. And Ian says, Ozil was never going to bring the creativity. He kept giving Arteta 3 out of 10 performances and made 2 big chances. So
there's definitely an argument that when he did come back into the team, he didn't light everything up as we hoped he would.
Yeah.
He did fine. Pravar
says, do you support Arsenal or Ozil? You know what I mean? So that's That's the point he's making. I think he's making that point out there to different fans.
Yeah.
Ham says we don't need Ozil, we need Cazorla.
I completely agree with him. Yeah, I do. Someone who can play in a 3 more naturally, who's maybe got a bit more about the defensive side, but is creative in the final third. Yeah.
Yeah. Jose, he's not a big fan of Ozil. You can tell. He says the fraud is out of the building. Wow, it really divides opinion because you know you'll have one person say that, and then you'll have someone else say something completely different. This guy here is obviously a fan. Mesut Ozil, we've got Ozil. I just don't think you understand. He's singing a song.
Yeah.
He's Arsene Wenger's man. He's better than Zidane. We've got Ozil. He's obviously a big fan, but you can see from the last guy he weren't. I mean, he divides opinion, doesn't he, Jake?
And don't you find that these people, fans, fall one extreme or the other? I'm finding it tends to be we love Ozil, he has to play, or get him out. Now, of course, there's others who do have a more middle of the line view, but it's funny how it can be so.
It's so polarizing. Mesut Ozil, we've got a super chat here. I'm trying to find it. Thank you for all these comments. There's like hundreds of them coming in on this subject. I can't pronounce. You pronounce that name, James?
Akhilesh, I think.
Akhilesh. He says, Robbie, will you now agree that Emery was right about Ozil? Fans disrespected Emery for that. Even with the Emery thing, I think that decision was made for Emery. They wanted. This is the thing with this Ozil thing, which I haven't really liked. I feel they wanted him out. He had no chance. Even if he went on and gave a 10 out of 10 performance. The powers that be wanted him gone.
Yeah, they did.
That's in my opinion. So there's a standoff between the two. Ozil's been saying all along, I ain't going nowhere, you know, pay me off and I'll go. And you can understand Ozil's point of view, really.
Absolutely.
Can't you? Because he didn't ask for that contract. They paid him that contract, £350,000 a week.
Yeah.
He said as well, he goes, I could have went to various different clubs and played. And I stayed loyal to Arsenal. Yeah. And I'm staying out my contract. So
I can't blame him for it. I think the only counter to that would be, how do you judge a footballer who'd rather stay and sort of take what he's owed rightfully, or would he, or does he want to be playing football, playing the game he loves? And I do get that. But then having said that, he signed a contract, he's honouring it. How many times have we gone in on players for not honouring their contracts and honouring, what they've signed to? So it's a really difficult one. And he can know. I think he had a baby, didn't he, recently? So he's very settled in London. Yeah. He doesn't want to, move his family around. He's obviously had the trauma of the nearly knife attack. So he's gone through a lot in the last, year or so. I'd understand him wanting to stay comfortable.
Hash Potato there says you're absolutely delusional and naive if you think that Ozil's situation had anything to do with his football. Even Bale made 16 appearances last season for Madrid. And this is a very similar situation to the Gareth Bale one at Madrid, where it doesn't really matter what he would have done. He weren't going to get a game.
Yeah.
Sam says, for such a long time, the board have run the club badly. Excuse me. This is the outcome of poor planning. We never built around him as we expected, Robbie. And I think he talks a lot of truth there.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on.
But then this guy, he's not a fan of Ozil. Obviously, he says, time for Ozil to go all in on Fortnite now. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
I want to ask you this, Robbie, and do you know what? I'll put it out to you guys in the comments as well. Is Mesut Ozil leaving as an Arsenal legend? Or a footballing legend instead? I'd like to know what people think about that, because I think we could debate.
He won everything in the game. He just didn't win it at our place. You know what I mean? That's the thing. My opinion, he's not an Arsenal great. He's not. No. Philo thinks he's an Arsenal great. He's got Arsenal with a goat next to it.
Well, there you go.
Ozil, sorry, with a goat next to it.
Yeah. He did arrive. That when he arrived, we won the FA Cup and ended the trophy drought.
Yes.
He was a big part of 3 of those wins. And I'm not saying that FA Cup put you into legendary status, but he definitely turned the tide for us.
A lot of people saying free Ozil. There was a comment a minute ago. I was just about to read it, and it just disappeared on me. He was talking about the situation in China, but it just disappeared on me. This guy here, can you pronounce that one?
Calvigo
Klaassen.
Klaassen.
Right, Calvigo Klaassen. Right, he says, what if Ozil leaves Arsenal and he then performs at his new club, like he's never been away from football, like a man possessed? What then?
Well, we'll still have 350 grand off our wage bill. No, I get it. Ozil might go off and be amazing somewhere else, but that's we can't worry about that.
Yeah. Do you think it was time for him to
go? Yes, I think contract runs out in the summer. I'd like for him to have gone this summer with a degree of, I suppose, dignity.
Yeah, well, I'd like to have seen him leave with a bit more
standing ovation from a crowd.
Yeah, this is a horrible way, the way they've got rid of him. And a lot of people respect him. You see this guy who's a Chelsea fan, Mohamed Sheikh. He says, everyone loved Ozil. He stood up against China. No other footballer did. The board hate him because of his wages are too high and hate him more for paying Gunnosaurus wages. He says, free Ozil. And you know what? That Gunnosaurus thing would have infuriated the board because it was already, the Gunnosaurus thing was already terrible publicity for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right, when that came out. And then when he came and he said that he'll cover his wages whilst he's still at the club.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it was Ozil sort of strategically, putting that comment out there, but it was made it even more embarrassing for the club. And I think any decision that was going to get made was made then. After that would have been it. They would have said,
do you think that was the final nail?
To me, yeah. I think the powers that be upstairs would have said, this guy ain't playing for his club no more. I don't care how much money he's getting.
Ozil's done a lot of interviews, and I think you can apply this to Gunnosaurus, where he said he's done interviews with David Ornstein at The Athletic, and he said, look, I'm very misunderstood. And I think what he's trying to get across, and what's applicable to the Gunnosaurus thing, is he is genuinely trying to do a really good thing. But you get skeptics still, of which I'm slightly one of them. So it's...
got a comment, super chat here from MA. He says, no top club wanted Ozil. There are several players that will be gone next year and will be in a position to build a title contending team. Be excited. So he's not shedding any. Be excited. He's not shedding any tears. This guy here says Arsenal's fans are too sentimental to a player that's given nothing to the club. He's never played for the badge, hence why his career is where it is. Let it go. Dividing opinions so much.
It's huge, isn't it?
Because you'll get one person like that, and then you'll get one person like this. Jalil says Ozil has got vision and creativity like no one else. Disgusting club. Not to at least play him in his last year. So there you have the contrast. One person completely backing him, the other person saying, get rid of him.
And also, they're not just saying Ozil was great for us. They're saying he's still great now. A lot of people feel he can still play a massive... Can you imagine if our team did have Ozil the way we know he can be? Would not all our prayers be answered? All our problems in the team.
I think we know he can create, but football's moved on now.
I think so.
And you've got to have... You can't be a passenger. You can't just create and just leave it to other players. You got to do your bit. And let's be real. And I think, and even if you love Mesut Ozil, you have to admit that he's never been one for tracking back and helping out. That's not his game. And
I agree.
Maybe he just wouldn't work in an Arteta system either. This guy says, don't you think what's happening to Ozil may happen to Aubameyang or Xhaka? I'm worried. Listen, it can. You know what? The thing is about football, and you hear players sometimes say, we'll have a go at play. All right, let's spin this route. If Ozil was on fire for Arsenal, he's on £350,000 a week, but he's on fire.
Yeah.
And we found out today that Ozil's looking to leave to go to Barcelona or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. We'll be losing it. We'll be calling him Judas. We'll be calling him all kind of things. But when we want him gone, No, he needs to leave.
Yeah.
Look how much money he gets. So
I agree.
I think this is why footballers now more and more are saying to themselves, "Oh, I've got to look after myself." You know what I mean? Because and it could to Aubameyang.
It could.
Already, I've seen fans criticising Aubameyang. Oh, since he signed a new contract, he ain't scored, and things like that. So it can happen to any player. I mean, it can turn around on you very, very quickly.
It absolutely can. And the Oba and Ozil contract situations are slightly comparable. And, we were desperate to see the deal signed, but...
Signed the thing. This guy says Ozil's fishy. He has many burnt bridges with his former managers and plays PR games after to look good. See Gunnosaurus. He's staying to play Fortnite for 300k. The other thing is about this with Ozil now. Now that this has all happened, surely come January. Or do you think he's just going to dig his heels in and say, well, you know what? I ain't going. Not leaving.
No, he's got other projects, hasn't he? He's got, I think in clothing line or clothing brand, and gaming, esports. As we just mentioned, he's got a baby, he's got a family, he's got a house. I bet he loves London. I think he's going to dig his heels in. I think he's probably got a sort of gentleman's agreement with Arteta. Or so. Again, I'm speculating. Maybe it's like, look, I know the position you're in, and I know the position you're in. Shake hands, come train well, we'll keep you fit, and good luck to you. Maybe. But and I think he might be okay with that at the moment, being a dad and pursuing other things.
Raul says Ozil lost his place in the Premier League, but he can still be used in the Europa League or Carabao Cup. He's really, and that could basically be one game if we've got City in that. But
he can't. He's been left out of the Europa League squad.
He's been left out. Well, no, he's saying Carabao Cup. We've got
City. We do have that.
But then he's not going to play in that.
Bring him back for one game.
They're not going to play him in that.
Yeah.
He's done. They're not going to play him again. Marmy says, where do you feel our creativity will come from this season? And what will be out to go for the out-and-out formation for the season with Partey out and Ozil? Well, maybe it's time for Danny Ceballos to step into that sort of role, and or Willian. I think it could be one of them two that start coming into that role. But I think it's certainly going to be. It won't be Mesut Ozil for sure. No. Lambros123 says his representatives did ask for that contract. He knew the board was under a lot of pressure after losing Alexis. That's true, but they didn't have to give it to him even. They didn't have to give him that contract. They gave it to him.
It was a startling amount more. I mean, I remember being linked to he wants 200 grand a week, 250 grand a week, and suddenly it was 350. I thought, what happened to
let's be real.
Negotiations?
Let's be real. He has not lived up to even 100 grand's worth of that. That we have to remember as well. I mean, we love Ozil. I love Ozil as a player. One of my favourite players, watch him play and stuff like that when he's on song. But he has not, over the past years, delivered. Last 2 years, he's been dreadful.
No, and even when he was still playing regularly under Wenger, he signed the contract and it wasn't happening for him.
Yeah. Arjut says people forget who Ozil is. He's a world champion and one of the best playmakers in the world.
That World Cup was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
He was. But
this guy says, remember versus Everton in February. He played for the patch. That's February. It's going to do that. This guy here saying Emil Smith-Rowe. He's going to get his chance now, Emil Smith-Rowe.
I hope so.
And again, if you would have kept him out of the squad, that wouldn't give a chance to, a player like Emil Smith-Rowe if he was maybe in the squad. This guy says, I love Ozil as a player, but on the pitch, he just isn't good anymore. When we have youngsters who could play there and improve, and again, Emil Smith-Rowe comes to light here. Mm-hmm. D. Jabri's TV says the fact that every Ozil highlight his fans are pulling up from is 4 years ago says it all.
It does.
It's kind of, he hasn't really got a lot to play. Casper says Stan Kroenke is the reason Ozil is not playing, not Arteta. And you have to be real. I think he's right. That decision has come from the top. I think even though he doesn't suit Mikel Arteta's system, I think that Arteta would have given him a game. I think Arteta would have tried him at least in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Look at the teams we've got. Rapid Vienna, after Molde and Dundalk, with no disrespect to them. You know, it's like playing against championship teams, right? Come on, Ozil, if he can't get into the Carabao Cup games we had, not even in the squad, the writing was on the wall from then.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that was the one.
You know what I would like to see? Because we're going to conclude in a minute, but I don't know what James is going to say. What I would like to see, I would like to see Arsenal and Mesut Ozil just sit down and they just pay him some money and he just contract gets cancelled and he just gets to leave. He's not going to get to leave with any dignity now, really, because of what's with all this.
Yeah.
But I would love to just see him just.
Yeah, I agree. Leave with a bit of dignity. I'd even love to see him sign on. Maybe sorry, no. I didn't finish. Yeah, give him another 2-3 years. Keep him on. No,
I thought you meant like just to say you want to see him sign on as a sign on the goal or something. But doing that. Sign
on a Serie A club, maybe. Or someone like that.
He had that offer, didn't he, from Saudi Arabia?
Yeah,
which he turned down, and that was £200,000 a week as well. And he turned that down.
Play some football at a decent level and then on a high.
MLS rate?
Yeah, very possible. Why not? Why not? Yeah.
And going to end off with this one. This is Sam. He says, this has upset me deeply. So you see it there, it's split. A lot of people love Mesut Ozil, still love him, would have loved to have seen him get a further chance. Other people, as you've seen here in some of the comments, think good riddance. That's what some people are saying. Other people kind of in the middle. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comment section. But it's gone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's finished. Yeah, it's done. Ozil 10. Won't be seeing it in the red and white of Arsenal anymore.